yeah, an incident happened in that year where I know I lost my mind, and
Yeah.
it was just a build up of frustrations and all, and got into a fight during a game, and yeah, that cost me. It cost me a lot.
Hey guys, Courtnall Skosan here, and welcome to Skosan Unplugged.
I told her mom that I bust soon, soon. Knew as a child back in the womb. Oh, told her step back, I need no room. Hop in the car.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Courtnall Skosan, and we're shooting live from Workshop 17 Cloister, Cape Town. I'm really excited to bring this episode to you guys. We're speaking to a professional rugby player, a man who hails from Cameroon, made his way all the way through South Africa, and finally, eventually found himself in France, building quite the successful career for himself, where he's blown up on social media and he's tearing up the league, just dominating across the board. I'm really looking forward to this episode. Christian Ambadiang, is that the right way to say it?
Yes, the right way. You got it right.
Lovely,
Got it right.
lovely. Christian, thank you so much for doing this, brother. I'm really looking forward to getting to know you, man.
That's a pleasure. Pleasure being here.
Lovely, lovely. So let's dig into it. Obviously, firstly, you Cameroonian born, tell us a little bit about your early childhood memories, before making your way to South Africa, I believe when you were 9, if I'm not mistaken.
So like you said, born and bred in Cameroon, uh, of a separated parents. My dad and mom separated at birth. Um, so I lived with my mom in Cameroon for 9 years
Mm,
before joining my dad in South Africa, in Pretoria, to be specific. And from there on, that's when well the new life started, from going from Cameroon to South Africa in Pretoria. Live with
mm.
my dad, with my step mom, the mother of my my two brothers, and yeah, and my dad. So yeah,
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So cool. So obviously, I remember, moving to Pretoria. I'm a Cape
mm,
Townian,
yeah,
colored boy from Cape Town. Getting to Pretoria, obviously, massive culture shock. Is so different there. How was it for you making that transition? Obviously, coming from Cameroon, then getting used to a place like Pretoria, big Afrikaner community. How was that
yeah, true.
adjustment for you?
Well, obviously, backtracking to when I got to South Africa at first, it was it was it was different because Cameroon, South Africa, Cameroon underdeveloped, and South Africa is basically it's a developing country. Um, to Cameroonians, to Cameroon, you'd say South Africa's developed. So going there, I firstly had to, before moving to South Africa, I first had to learn a whole new language because
Mm,
English is not my home language.
mm,
So um, I was fortunate for my dad to actually put me through in a school where they teach both English and French. So I had like a head start before moving. So
mm.
eventually, into going to South Africa was I was very shocked. Firstly, the weather. I think I got there. I got there in summer, in
Mm.
October 2009, and I think it was still in summer. So eventually, it was good. It was good. Obviously, a lot like there's a whole lot of things that shook me. I saw, like, for my first time, I saw kids going to school, for instance, barefoot. That I
Wow.
never, I've never seen that.
Mm,
I was very, very surprised.
mm,
And yeah, apart from that, also the food, a whole lot of things. But most importantly, I'd say the one that really, really had a big impact was when I started school. And, you know, you start school, French is my home language, English first additional, and then got introduced to Afrikaans. And that,
Hey.
trust me, that was the worst thing, um, I could ever have asked for. Because,
Yeah.
man, if I take you through my first school day, we had to do, um, a test in Afrikaans. And
Mm.
man, oh man, I know I failed that test, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. But eventually, well, I think that same day, I got home. I remember I got home and I told my dad to send a letter to the teacher and tell her to cancel Afrikaans for me. But eventually, yeah, I carried on learning Afrikaans, and well, I'm actually comfortable with it now. But yeah, it was very difficult as a kid, like you're
Mm.
leaving. Um, Firstly, I think I left my mom because I grew up with her, and
Yeah.
I literally basically did everything with my mom, and
Mm.
she's very close to me.
Mm.
Yeah, that was very difficult, but then at the same time I understood because um well, I understood why she allowed me to go because firstly, better opportunity.
Yeah.
You as a kid growing up in Cameroon, I don't think you basically you are limited to opportunities. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm also grateful for my dad actually to
Yeah.
for bringing me and taking me out of the country, out of Cameroon, and taking me to South Africa and experience different things, a whole different world basically.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, that's awesome, man. And then you were talking now about Afrikaans, and it made me think about
Yeah,
this. I read up. It said that you were at Hendrik Vervoer.
yes.
So the funny thing about that is, and I just told my wife as I was coming here, I said, my wife
Mm.
went to Hendrik Vervoer High School as well. So
Is
I
it?
met I met, I met my wife in Pretoria because that's when my professional career started. So I left from
Yeah,
Cape Town, got into the Bulls. That's where I played most of my junior rugby. So obviously met my wife, and she went to Hendrik Vervoer. Now you're talking about struggling with Afrikaans when you came here, then going to
yeah,
a high school called Hendrik Vervoer, which is actually an Afrikaans school. Like, how was
yeah.
that experience for you?
And it was like I said, it was difficult. It was difficult. But luckily, I didn't just get into South Africa and go straight to high school. I first had to go
Mm.
through primary school and
Yeah.
like basically learn the basics of
Mm.
Afrikaans and all. And eventually
Yeah.
going to Hendrik Verwoerd, it was yeah, it was tough. I would lie. It was tough, but I mean, as a youngster, I think we are quick to learn languages. It's easy
Mm.
for like as you as a youngster to learn a language than as an older person to learn a language. So for me, um, well, I had no choice but
Mm.
to learn Afrikaans, and I had to just be comfortable because I mean you never know in Afrikaans. I mean when you when you play rugby, like if there's guys speaking Afrikaans,
Yeah.
at least you don't get lost, and
Yeah.
that also that also helped me because I hung around with like a lot of Afrikaans speakers,
Mm.
um, and yeah, it sort of it also helped me um further on with in my high school days.
So obviously, high school, you're quite the runner. I've watched some of your clips, and I can
Oh,
see obviously man's got gas. So you obviously did athletics when you were back in school, right?
yeah, yeah, I
So
did,
was
yeah.
that your first love? Were you found being a runner then going to rugby? Because for me, athletics was was my number one. And then
Yeah.
obviously I transitioned into becoming, or falling in love with the game of rugby, but I started running. And then on top of that, what was your 100-meter time? Like, what did you run?
So to firstly answer the first question, um, athletics wasn't the very first sport because like I said, born in Cameroon, and
Mm,
in Cameroon the main sport there is football,
mm,
soccer.
yeah.
Um, so I grew up playing soccer, like literally. You wake up, you play soccer, you go to bed, you play soccer, you sleep, you think soccer.
Mm,
Um, and eventually, coming to South Africa, I discovered um, the world of athletics, the world of rugby, and also soccer because it's also one of the major sports in South Africa.
hmm
And yeah, in primary school, I discovered athletics, and yeah, so I did it for, well, actually for fun at first because one of my mates, my old mates, asked me. Well, he took me into it, and I was just like, you know what, let's just try it and see how it goes because
mm,
my first love was football,
yeah.
soccer, and yeah, eventually discovered athletics and cricket as well. Like
Okay.
I did
Okay.
basically practically everything.
Yeah.
Um, but the main sports that I focused on were soccer, athletics, and rugby, and that
Mm,
was when I basically got to high school.
yeah.
And yeah, that's and high school days, athletics was number one.
Mm,
Although you know, you're in Afrikaans school, rugby is obviously going to be like the dominant sport, but we weren't like our school wasn't a top tier school. We're
mm,
basically a small school. Like
yeah.
we we basically just played rugby for fun. But eventually, I focused a lot on it. I went as far as reaching provincials, and well, I didn't get to nationals, but yeah. Uh, in athletics, I did also loads of events.
Hmm.
For instance, I did hurdles, I did 100 meters, 200 meters, long jump,
I was going to
and
say long jump is always a good one for the
yeah,
sprinters.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I did that, and yeah, it was fun. It was fun. And coming to the time, well, my last sprint in high school, I clocked 10:90. Wasn't quick, but hey,
Okay, well, that's brother, that's
was
wheels. I'm telling you
I
that
mean,
it's
yeah, but I mean, for a person that that's from a school where, like, there's no, like, you don't get, if you do a comparison to, like, for instance, fees that's not far
mm,
from Wood, the facilities, we didn't have
yeah,
facilities. We just like well, we just had like teachers teaching us, and also
yeah,
um so I was blessed enough to have like people that were literally on my case about training and
mm,
discipline. And
yeah,
yeah, and I'm till this day I'm still grateful. I think it's because I can say it's because of them that
mm,
I'm who I am today. So yeah.
yeah. That's cool, man. That's cool. And obviously now talking about rugby and the love for the game, you said now that athletics was your number one sport. So where did the thinking or the love for the game, thinking about it being professional one day, was there a specific game that made you think, you know what, I can actually do this thing one day? or was there a specific moment or someone in your life, that kind of inspired that whole thing of you playing professionally one day?
So yeah, like I said, I discovered rugby quite late. I think I was 13 or 14. Yeah, in grade eight basically.
Mm, yeah.
And I remember they made an announcement that whoever wants to play rugby, you can come in and sign up. And for me, at first I was scared. I was scared of
Mm,
rugby because
sure.
you watch rugby on TV, you see like flipping collisions and
Yeah.
all that, and I was like, you know what, I'm not about that. Let me rather focus on athletics where you just run, and
Yeah.
maybe soccer where like there's not a lot of physicality in it.
Mm,
So yeah, and eventually I went and signed up. Um, yeah, and it was pretty easy in the beginning.
mm,
Trust me, it was easy because as a 13, 14-year old, you're fast and you can run around people. You know, it was it was fun during that time. In grade nine, that's when like you could see it started upgrading a bit. Like guys started going to gyms, and
mm,
I was like, I told myself, you know what, I'm just gonna depend on my speed, and that's it. I don't need
mm,
to go to the gym, nothing at all. You know, I'd maybe like do body squats, and I'm good. So eventually, I in grade nine, things got a bit hectic. Like
mm,
it became a bit tougher, and part of me was like, okay, you know what, that's fun. That's where like you. I also found that I'm I'm a bit more physical. Like I've got this
yeah.
physical nature to myself,
Yeah.
and it was good. And like you put in a couple of hits here and there, and yeah, that's fun. Until I remember in grade nine, I went for provincial trials. Like your normal school provincial trials, and
Yes. Yes.
we played against I don't know which school it was. I, I tackled someone and I got a knee to my face, and
Mm.
I think I broke my cheekbone, and yeah, it was
Ah,
a whole mess. Yeah,
yeah. That's not nice.
yeah. So eventually, I think that's why I took a step back a bit and thought about it again, about
Mm,
playing rugby again. And
mm,
I remember I got home and my dad told me, see, that's the sport that you wanted to do. We don't do that, so that's on you there. So yeah, and then eventually like I had like whole lot of fears because there was also another incident where we're playing a game at school. We're playing basically a league game, and I got so upset, like I didn't want to like tackle anymore, and
mm.
it's almost like you lose that love,
Yeah. Yep.
And I remember till this day, one of my school principals, of which I'm still in contact with. I always
Mm,
visit him whenever I go back to South Africa.
mm.
He told me a phrase that like I still keep to myself till this day. It's almost like a
Mm.
wake up call, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say it here, but um,
Do it.
it was,
Say what you want to say.
he told me straight up, uh, what, stop laying down and acting like a Morphe.
Mm, mm.
So that. that from that day on, I woke up. I told myself, you know what? You need to be tougher. You need to be stronger. Although I knew we didn't have the facilities, but I mean, you don't need to have like so much muscles to be able to hit someone, you know?
Mm.
You just need to have that drive in you.
Yeah.
And eventually, yeah, from that day on, I just kept on focusing a lot more on rugby. I got introduced to club rugby as well,
Okay.
through friends of schoolmates of mine and friends, they're still friends of mine.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's when I just started going hard on rugby and also doing athletics on the side as well.
Yeah.
So I got to my matric where I had options to either take the route of athletics or take the route of rugby. And also, as if you're in a small school, like it's very difficult. You don't get the same opportunities as a learner that's, for instance, from Menlo Park or from Affis or from like
Yeah.
limited resources,
Mm.
until
Yes.
and eventually we had a coach who played for for the EP Kings, it was called back then. Uh, Scrum off Coach Fana. We nicknamed, well, that was his nickname.
Mm.
Um, he came up to me and he asked me if I want to take rugby seriously.
Mm.
I told him, for me, I'm in love with the sport. I literally did everything to like improve. Like I mentioned, I
Yeah.
went and joined a club, played club rugby on the side for instance, after school, if it wasn't the rugby season,
Mm.
I'd probably do a bit of soccer here and there, and then the evenings were club rugby training. So I'd go there
Yeah.
and like just I just had this mindset of, you know what, do what you need to do. You never know who is looking, you know?
Amen. Mm.
Um and yeah, he asked me if I want to take rugby seriously um when I was in matric, and I told him, look, whatever opportunity comes at hand, I will take it, and I'm not just gonna make myself proud, but make him proud as well. Because
Yeah.
yeah, he came back to me and he told me he'll put my name through at the EP Kings academy,
Hmm.
and yeah, and then that's when yeah, I received my first contract as an academy player for the EP Kings, and I didn't think twice. And my dad also, he was very happy for me, but he told
Yeah.
me, look, you know what? Yes, rugby, you can do whatever, you can do your sports and all that, but you also need to think of school. You can't just
Mm.
do sports and all that. So I told him, look, yes, I will do that. But for me, I didn't just use sport as a like as a passion. I
Mm.
used it also as a way out.
Yeah.
Um, as a way out because I'm from a family where I'm from a poor family, basically. I'm from a poor family. I know like there's a whole lot of people that may have the same story as I have, or even worse. I'll take
Mm.
the case of the Springbok captain Siya Kolisi, where we all
Yeah.
know his background. Um,
Yeah.
I had basically I wouldn't say, I don't know if I can say the same, but my background is very you I'm actually proud of that, from a poor
Yeah.
family, both mom and dad our poor, my dad got his breakthrough to go to South Africa, thinking obviously, things will get better, but
Yeah.
it is tough. Till this day, I'm actually blessed enough to lend a hand, to my dad and to my mom as
Yeah.
well. So
That's
yeah,
awesome, man.
it was, it was difficult, but then I took that, I told myself, you know what, take this route and make something out of it so that you can help your parents or your brothers. Because for me, my brothers are like very important to me.
Mm.
I can't, like, I remember there were times where um I would go to school without like food or anything. Like I'd
Yeah.
literally, I think if you ask your wife, she'd probably know. I don't know if they had it when she was still there, where there was like, if you don't have food, you'd go to the office and there's like,
I give you a sandwich.
yeah, they'll give you a sandwich. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. I
I would,
remember.
I would, I would do that here and there. I would not take breakfast for my brothers to rather go to school on a full stomach because
Mm.
breakfast is the most important thing as a school learner. Um, so like loads of sacrifices, and for me, as long as I had the support of my parents, I basically just went with it, and yeah, and eventually, from there on, got to the EP Kings, and it wasn't also easy because we all know the situation, how it was
Mm.
at the Kings
Yeah.
and all. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No. Yeah, I wanted to ask you on that as well, because you went to the Kings in that whole phase where they obviously got liquidated, and all of that, tough things that happened there, like how, because now you're saying that you made it into rugby, and for me, thinking about making it into rugby is signing your first deal, it's obviously your smallest deal you ever signed, but still,
yeah,
it was a massive thing at the time, so now you're thinking, you know what, I'm in the professional rugby, I'm going to set my family free. And 6 months or 8 months down the line, like you got a club that's liquidated. Now you're looking for opportunities and you don't know where you're going to go. What was that like? How did you adapt to that situation? And what did you learn, from going through
yes.
something like that?
So obviously, I think, like I mentioned, after high school, I think 2017 or yeah, 2017, went to the Kings. But obviously, for me, I thought you going there to play professionally. Um, I went there as can I say, it was basically an academy contract. But for me, I knew myself. I knew that, what, you need to work. You need to climb that ladder. So
Mm,
yeah, it was at the time. Well, we all got there. We didn't know what was going on in
hmm
2017, and like it was tough. It was tough going through that academy. It was, if you compare the EP Kings to other academies, like for instance the Sharks Academy or the Western Province or Institute or whatever, it was different. Like there
mm,
it's I'd say survival of the fittest, if you can say.
yep,
But
yep,
um, and yeah, we live with like other teammates and we helped each other. That was also good. That's where you find different values. And eventually, um, that's when we also got the news of, oh, there won't be any EP Academy. And for me, I was, I just stood there and I didn't know what to do. You leave home I've been in Pretoria for basically my whole life, going
yeah,
to another province. You don't know anyone. Um, like times where we would get like our paychecks late, very late, and also it wasn't enough, and you need to survive for the month and all that. it was complicated.
What's up, guys? I'm so sorry to interrupt this episode, but I've got a very special announcement to make. I'm so excited to share this news with you guys. But first of all, I want to say thank you so much for supporting this channel and coming back week after week after week. Now, we have recently partnered with a company called EasyBet. If you go down to the description below, there will be a link where you'll be able to click on the link. If you register and sign up on their website using the code SCOSAN, all capitals, using the code SCOSAN, all capitals. If you do that, you will be able to get a 50 Rand sign up bonus as well as 25 bonus spins. Now, we're so excited about this. It's going to be for the next few episodes. So, I want to thank you guys so much for making stuff like this possible. You know, this has been an amazing journey and we can only grow from here. And I want to say thank you so much for our partners, EasyBet, for making this a possibility and giving you guys a special offer like that. I hope you guys take full advantage of it. Enjoy it. Remember, T's and C's applies. Now back to the episode.
But eventually, there was a time like during that year where, uh, well, I overheard that there's they're picking guys for the SRA Academy,
Mm,
and eventually we, well, like I said, I overheard, and there was
yeah.
already a list of guys leaving to go there, and I wasn't in it. And you know, I don't know what went through my head. I went up to the director of rugby back then, Robbie Kempson.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I told him, look, I want to go to that academy because it was basically like a training camp for 6 months, and then
Yeah.
once you're done, you go back to your unions and prepare for it was then under 19 Curry Cup.
Correct up. Yeah.
So yeah, so I told him, look, I want to go there. Um, I literally have nothing to do in PE anymore at the moment because
Yeah. Yeah.
registrations for university, I couldn't also get into university then. So yeah, I went I think that was the best choice that I ever made. Looking
Yeah.
back, because yeah, you go to an academy like that, they you basically improve your certain aspects of your game. You learn a lot. Like there's so many things that you learn in those 6 months, and also at the same
Mm,
time you get to play games. I
yeah.
remember we played a game against the under 20s, Days under 20s in that year. We played against the Institute, Western Province Institute,
Yeah.
and yeah, I played those games. I showcased myself. I took that as an opportunity to showcase, like I mentioned earlier on, I didn't have that background that other people had. I didn't play
Yeah.
Craven Week. I didn't play Grand Coma or whatever.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
just had a clean sheet. So we played a game against Western Province Institute, and it was at Ribia Castile.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's in
It's just outside of Cape Town. Yeah. I remember.
yeah,
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah. So I went there and we played against them, and yeah, everything was good. Scored a couple of tries, made a couple of good runs. Like I literally, it was basically for me. I played that game wanting to prove that um,
You're good
look,
enough.
I'm good enough, and
Mm,
who knows, what if you want me to come play for you guys? Like
yeah.
literally, I just played my heart out, you know.
Mm,
And I think the week after, the following week, so we played on a Saturday, and the following week, um, I get a call from the manager at the S Rugby Academy, and
yeah.
he told me that, look, coaches at the Western Province Institute wanna speak to you, and I think they want you to join the institute, you know. And for me, I was happy. And they sent an agent to come speak to me and well basically give me all the fine details and all that. And then we played them again
Yeah.
for a second time. And yeah, I put out a performance again. Um and they told me, look, we want you to come. And yeah, so that's when I signed a different contract now. I left my EP contract
Yeah.
to sign for Western Province. And for me it was very good. Really loved it. Going to Western Province, I mean, a dream. It's a dream, you know. Like
Yeah.
I'd
100%.
I'd never, I never thought I'd actually go and play um against or play against and with uh guys from Paul Ruiz, Paul Boys, you know, like guys that have played
Yeah.
Craven Week and SA
SA
schools. And
schools, man.
yeah, for me it was a shocker. But um I basically had to show, you know, like I had that hunger to show that I want to be part of that, you know, although
Yep.
I know my background. So
Mm.
eventually, yeah, I got there just before the season started.
Mm.
It's like I always do, play my heart out. I remember that year I came try scorer in the comp, I think in
Yeah.
2018 or something, or
Hmm.
2017, I'm not sure. And it was basically my one of like my breakthrough years. In that same year, I got uh, I got called up to do preseason with the Stormers.
Sure. How
So it
old were
was
you? How old were you that time? How old were you?
um, I think I was 18. Yeah, I was
Sure.
18. Yeah,
Yo, that's quite a compliment, eh? Sure.
yeah. It was crazy. It was crazy. And yeah, so I got up to do preseason with the Stormers. Obviously, like I could only do like specific things because I had an op on my finger, so I couldn't like
Mm.
do like your rugby stuff, you know. And
Yeah. Yeah.
eventually, once I got cleared to like do rugby, I I think I remember I played a warm-up game against SWG, um,
Mm.
a
Oh, the
preseason
one
game
they
against
do down in
SWG.
George. The one they do
Yeah,
down in
yeah,
George before the season
yeah,
starts. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So I played. I only had like a few minutes. Didn't do much. Well, I had like one run, and it was good, but I guess it wasn't good enough for me to stay up, you know. And
Mm. Yeah.
um, that's when like things just turn for the bad, you know.
Mm.
Um, for me, I thought, okay, look, literally, you know, you're ascending, you know, you're going up,
Yeah.
um, which and I sort of when I look back, I sort of thought, okay, now I'm starting to get a big head, you know.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
I wasn't humble. I can proudly say that I wasn't humble.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
thought, okay, look, you know what, you train with the Stormers and you're gonna stay there. You're gonna
Mm.
need to work.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe I was wrong. I don't know. But
Mm.
I wasn't part of the plans. You know, it was also fine. I got sent back to play under 19 again, and for me that was it was tough.
Yeah.
Um, I remember when I played another year under 19, there was a kid that came to the institute. He went straight to the Stormers. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I started questioning myself, and I asked myself, you know, why is it that He just came out of high school and he's going
Mm.
straight there and he's staying there, you know. I
Yeah.
had to like literally graft myself up until there, and they just took me down, you know.
Yeah.
And it was frustrating. And I think there's a time when in that second year, that second season with the under 19s, uh yeah, a lot happened. From injuries to incidents
Yeah.
in the field. I think it's obviously not a good thing to do back then. And for me at the moment, I'm actually like comfortable speaking about it.
Mm.
Um, it was, yeah, an incident happened in that year where I know I lost my mind, and
Yeah.
it was just a build up of frustrations and all, and got into a fight during a game, and yeah, that cost me. It cost me a lot.
Mm.
It cost me the province. Well, at one hand, I was part of the plans, and on the other hand, it just, you know, next moment it just changed. You know,
Yeah.
the province decided, you know, we, I think if you wanna leave, feel free, feel free to go. So for
Mm.
me, I sort of like didn't have that. I thought I had the backing, you know, like that they're going to be with me, and I'm still part of the
Yeah.
plan after, because I got uh, I think a 3 month suspension for that incident, and so I couldn't do any any rugby at all.
Yeah.
Um, it was tough. It's uh, it's something that like, I look back at it and I regret reacting that way.
Mm.
Um, but things like that, you learn from it, you know, you learn
Yeah.
from it.
Yeah.
I learned my lessons. Um, I know that I'm not supposed to do any of that, and it's not good, you know.
Mm.
You basically, I basically um made a bad image for myself, you know.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, man, it was tough, you know, like having to sit at home and you see your name going on headlines and you're seeing like the comments below it, and it was tough. But for me, one thing that I'm grateful for is, you know, I had like the right people behind me, you know,
Mm.
whether it's my agent, family, girlfriend and her family and all.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, they helped me a lot then. You know, like I basically, it's almost like you have this this shield over you.
Yeah.
Uh,
100%.
and eventually, yeah, that I left Western Province and went up to the Bulls. They took over my, because I had 1 year left on my
Mm.
contract at Province. I went up to the Bulls, and yeah, the new journey started. I was basically back home, and it wasn't as expected. You know,
Mm.
it's almost like I got there. No one knew that I was actually there.
Yeah.
I had to basically had to like start from scratch again, and
Yeah.
it was tough. And
Mm.
at the Bulls, I didn't even spend like I spent a couple of months, and luckily, I'm actually grateful to him as well. Robbie Kempson, he called me and he asked me to join to join the Southern Kings,
Mm.
to join Southern Kings. But before that, I had a call from Enneka Meyer, um, when he was still at Stade Francais.
Mm.
He also wanted me to come up um, this side, and I was stuck between two, you know, between the two, and went back home to my dad. I told him, look, I have this opportunity and that opportunity. I don't know which to choose.
Yeah.
So yeah, he just advised me, obviously going abroad, you have it would be good for you, um,
Yeah.
but the choice is yours. And I told him, you know what, look, for me, I still have goals, like, as a youngster, you watch guys on TV, other professional rugby players on
Mm.
TV, players wearing that green and gold a
Yeah.
Springbok jersey, like you aspire to be one of them. Um, but I knew that my the way up there is not going to be easy.
Mm.
Not saying that it's easy for everyone, but for
Yeah.
me personally, it wasn't going to be easy because I'd have to work hard and showcase myself. And so I decided, you know what, I'm gonna stay here, and also I want to stay close to family. I don't want to
Yeah.
um be away from family.
Mm.
So I signed up with the Southern Kings, and yeah, that's when another journey started again. Started from scratch. Yeah,
Seems like the story of your
uh,
life, eh? Starting
yeah.
from scratch.
I actually have to start from scratch every time. So yeah, I did a good preseason with them and played one warm-up game against Georgia. I had a decent game. It was my first game professionally, although it was a warm-up game.
Yeah.
And from there, went from Georgia, went to Namibia. We played against Namibia, and in that game, I picked up my biggest injury, and that basically took me out the whole year, the whole season.
Sure.
So got
What, what,
injured.
what, what, sorry, what injury was it?
So I tore my patella tendon. I had a complete
Oh,
patella tendon rupture.
was it a rupture?
So
Was it a
yeah,
rupture? Ah,
yeah,
yeah, that's horrible.
yeah. So that again, starting from scratch. So
I think I
yeah,
know. I think I know the title. I think I know the title for this episode.
oh yeah. So it was tough. Like going to the Southern Kings. I thought, okay, it's going to be my breakthrough as a professional. I could
Mm.
basically say that I'm a professional rugby player, but
Yes.
um, I didn't get the chance to play any game in that season, and
Mm.
also that's when uh the pandemic hit,
Yeah.
and that was also tough. Pandemic hit, and we all had to be confined, and also we had another pandemic that hit us at the Kings, where we just one morning we just woke up to a news of that the Kings they liquidated. Um,
Mm.
so most of us ended up without contracts, so we didn't know
Sure.
where to go. We didn't know the
Yeah.
the the next step forward. Some guys were lucky enough to get contracts elsewhere,
Mm.
which is good for them.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. And so as for me personally, I was left. I didn't know what was the next step. I had to deal with recovering from my injury. Well, it was basically a long-term injury. It took
Yeah.
me basically 2 years to recover from that. So I had to focus on that. I had to think of where I'm gonna go next, where I'm gonna play. Um, it felt like I failed, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Feels
felt
like
like
the
I
dream is
failed.
shattered. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I eventually I just told myself, you know what? spend the time with your loved ones and focus on recovering.
Mm.
Because you can only control the controllables. You can't
Yeah.
control those aspects. You can only control what's at hand. And what
Amen.
was at hand was my injury. And also another main thing, it was also I had to. It was a test of faith as well. Like you
I can
ask yourself
imagine.
questions, man. You ask yourself, man, why? You ask God, why did this happen? Why did it
Mm.
happen to me? You know,
Yeah.
and yeah, and God was preparing me for bigger things.
Yep.
Um, and
Definitely.
yeah, and eventually within, I think once I've fully recovered, I tried to go back to Western Province and play under 21s.
Hmm.
And yeah, my agent tried to to um to get me in there. At first, I got the green light to 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 train with them, and I think the day I was supposed to join them, I got a text message saying, "Okay, we don't need you to come." And it was
Mm.
almost like, "Oh man, you like, how can you like tell me one thing and then
Yeah.
then you change the next day?" But eventually,
Yeah.
you know what? I put it aside. I told myself, you know what? Focus. Even if you're not training with the team, go to a rugby field. There's plenty of rugby fields
Yeah.
where I was. You just run your heart out, uh, do some rugby specifics and all that. The opportunity will come.
Yeah.
So there was an opportunity that came to play tens rugby. I think it was a tournament in Bermuda.
Mm.
Um, so I told them, look, I will join it. Like literally any opportunity that came up, I will take it. I'll do
Yeah.
whatever to go up with it. And when I thought, okay, look, you know what, I will use that to make another breakthrough. Felt like, okay, you know what, God just shut that door. It's like I was like, man, what is it? What are you trying to show me? And
Yeah.
it felt like, he was like, um, I don't want you to do, I don't want you to go to that tournament. I don't know for what reason, but
Mm.
yeah. And eventually, my agent, I got a call from my agent someday, and he told me, look, there's an opportunity abroad.
Yeah.
And for me, I didn't even think twice. I told him, look,
Yeah.
um, I'll take it. I'll make
Yeah.
something out of it. Um, I will make something out of it. So
Mm.
yeah, that's when I basically boarded my plane and left to come here in France.
And now I wanted to ask you, how did that feel? So now I'm listening to you as you're speaking. It's starting over, disappointment after second chance, after wanting another opportunity. Now all of a sudden you get that opportunity. What did that feel? Was it relief? Was it peace? Was it finally understanding God's plan? What did it feel like when you packed your bags and you got onto that flight? You know, now you're on your way to France. Obviously, there's a lot of excitement with the new opportunity, but what did it feel like leaving all of that disappointment and all of that despondency, and obviously whatever emotions you faced before that? What did it feel like letting go of all of that? Or was it not
For
letting go
me,
of it yet?
no, 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 it was for me. It felt like you leaving, you going there. I told myself, and like I always like before doing taking on any task, I always
Mm.
go back to my roots, which is my dad, my family, my dad,
Yeah.
with my mom.
Mm.
Um, I spoke to them. I told them, look, there's this opportunity. that's presented itself, and I will take it. And I just want a fresh start. I just want to forget um, everything that happened. Like it felt like you um, you just let go of shackles. You
Yeah.
broke through. Like it feels like you know um, there's the weight. It felt like the weight of the world is off my shoulders.
So I can imagine.
And I I said my dad told me, look, go there and just you're basically going where I don't know. You're basically going home because
Yeah.
France it's basically like home because
Yeah.
um I speak the language.
Mm.
It's not going to be um as difficult as for for me when I got to South Africa. I had to learn like English first of all. I had
Yeah.
to learn Afrikaans as well. Like it's
Mm.
basically like going home. When you go home, you know that you have peace of mind. You
Yeah.
will have peace of mind.
Yep.
You're going to be I don't know, like it was a mix of emotions, but I knew my purpose still.
Mm.
I knew my purpose. I knew that um there are people, there's still people depending on me,
Yeah.
which is my family. They're
Mm.
still depending on me, and I always do anything and do everything for them.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a good feeling. It felt good to 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 first of all get that chance, that opportunity. It felt
Yeah.
good to start afresh.
That's
So yeah.
awesome, man. That's cool. That's a cool way to look at it. And then obviously now, so you have South Africa, you have France. You've played now for a few seasons in France. There's always the debate about who's the best, France, South Africa. Like what the different styles of
Yeah.
rugby is. Like, what is your view on this? What do they do in France? Obviously, you enjoying your rugby. You're getting a lot of ball. You're scoring a lot of tries. You're dominating. What would you
Yeah.
say is the biggest difference from playing in France and then obviously playing in South Africa?
Uh, playing in France, physical. For me, I uh, the opportunity, the chance to play both in Pro D2,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the second division, and to
Yeah.
now play in top 14. Pro D2, I was in Pro D2 for 3 seasons, and they trust me. I'd say, yeah, it's very physical,
Mm.
and it's also fun. Like when you speak to a person that plays, or if you hear about rugby in France, they always say the French flair. You know,
Yeah.
it's physical, but also um, there's a lot of skillful as well.
Yeah.
You'll find like things that I'd never imagine, like people doing in rugby. You find that here as well. Not
Yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
not putting South Africa aside as well. South Africa's also they also play it's a physical type of rugby as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you compare the two, I'd say French rugby is more physical in terms of like the competition
Yeah.
um than uh than what's this, the South African comps.
Mm.
And also it's a broader what's this, there's more there's more teams, and yeah, there's also loads of competition. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
you need to pitch up. It's either you run over someone or you get run over. Like you need to basically stand your ground. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It seems like now you're talking about running over. It seems like that's kind of one of your special abilities.
Uh,
Because
I think
you run around them, you run over them, you catch them from behind. What is there something you can't do?
oh, I'm literally just, I'm discovering all these stuff. It's wonderful, like how the, for me, I'd say it's wonderful how the body works.
Hmm.
You push the body to limit that it shouldn't even reach.
Yeah.
For
Hmm.
me, if I look back to how I was when I was 15, 16 years old,
Yeah.
I'd never think I'd run over someone or someone twice my size, or
Yeah.
like it's like it's just like anyone, you find out. I'd say name a specific action. Stephen Colby, I think it was in the World Cup
Hmm.
um against France, if I'm not mistaken. So you literally you would never think that
Yeah.
a winger would run over a prop.
Hmm.
But at the same time, if you have that will, if you wanna, like I mentioned, you need to impose yourself, or um you get taken back.
Yeah.
It goes like that with even with your day-to-day life. But
Yeah.
more specifically with rugby, since it's a contact sport,
Hmm.
you need to be present. You can't like have that moment where uh you slip up, Although like
Yeah.
sometimes you do play against the Fijians, like the
Hey,
Samoans.
my good friends.
Uh,
Bula bula.
you play against them, and man, they are specimens.
Hmm.
They're very physical, but at the same time, you just because they're from a specific country or specific nation, it
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you need to be afraid. Like
Yeah.
um, if for instance um, you put Joshua Tuisova in front of Chisholm Colby, um, it's also a mind game.
Yeah.
There's ways to take him down.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So like I said, you need to respond present, and you need to be
Hmm.
ready. You need to
Yeah.
you need to brace yourself as well. And for me, that's why we play the sport. Yeah.
And 100%. And then obviously, I, from one finisher to the other, like it sounds weird
Yeah.
to say that, but from one finisher to the other, like I'd like to know, like, how do you do it? Obviously, is it a natural ability? You find your way to the try line all the time. Do you attribute that to your teammates, to the game plan, or is there stuff that you've done, in your foundation phase and obviously still today? Is there stuff that you've worked on that you've tried to master into finding yourself, obviously being, a finisher and a try scorer and obviously being on that list every single season? That takes a lot of work, So if someone's watching now and they're a winger and they're thinking, how can I be on the top try scorer list every single season? What is the stuff that they need to work on, and what do you work
For me, personally, there's a lot of things that I worked on. Um, for instance, like I mentioned earlier on, I started rugby very late. Um,
on?
I basically had to learn rugby in itself. I had to learn how to step, how to like evade tackles. I had to learn how to make tackles as well.
Mm,
I had to find ways to run around like opponents. You know, I basically had to learn rugby itself. And one thing also, once you join a team, one thing I was told getting here, um, yes, you have your own attributes. For me, these were God-given talents. Like um, God gave me the strength to flip and to run over someone or to run around someone. Um,
mm,
but um, rugby is a team sport. For me, I always tell myself, you know what, put yourself, I mean, put the team before you,
Yeah.
and like whatever you do, know that you're doing it for the team.
Yes.
You know, for instance, if you um if you make meters, it's going to benefit the team. Like the team is going to advance with you, and
Yeah.
at the end of the day, and also put yourself in favorable situations. For instance, so if you see that okay, the defense is low in numbers, put yourself in a position where you'll be able to, for instance, receive a cross kick
Yeah.
and yeah, and also like see for me, I'm a player. I wanna like I always look at different gaps. I love
Yeah.
to attack gaps. Um, if I see, for instance, there's a ruck in the 15, and I see the defense is tight, and there's a gap somewhere in that defense, I'll come and propose myself, and maybe the nine will hit me up and go through that gap. Like there's so many things like, but obviously for us wingers, you always wanna like be on that touch, and
Yeah.
you wanna get over the line. Like I like
Yeah.
whenever I play, I always tell myself, you know what, um, we need a score. You need a score. You need a
Mm.
score to
Yeah.
put the team in front. You need a
Yeah.
score to win the game. Maybe you
Yeah.
need to maybe do a chase down to prevent the try, and
Yeah.
like things like that. So yeah.
Yeah, that takes me to the next point as well. Like you obviously, man, it was blowing up my Insta feed for 2 weeks straight, brother. Like that chase down, like obviously what game I'm talking about. It was obviously
Yeah.
a special thing, and you don't see a lot of that, in recent times, you haven't seen a lot of those type of things, happening and all of that. You made the try saving tackle, you score a try. It was on your debut, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
Was it?
yes. It was on
Yeah, yeah.
my
So
debut. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So obviously special game. But then, you were quite emotional afterwards. Like you were quite emotional, and I wanted you to take me through what it felt like. Was there a lot of meaning in behind playing that game and having that special performance? What did that mean to you? Like just why, and why the emotion?
So first of all, it was it was always a dream. Like I mentioned earlier on, it was a dream to reach that professional level. I always like
Mm,
told myself, you know what, we need to tick boxes. If you
yeah.
maybe start your base level rugby, for instance,
Mm,
club rugby, and you
yeah.
keep on climbing that ladder, like you feel proud of yourself.
Mm,
And for
yeah.
me, I can say that I did that. I started in South Africa, school rugby to under 19, played under 19, and kept on climbing to Pro D2 second division. And now for me, the dream was to reach the highest level. Well, obviously not the highest level. Highest level will probably be international level. A high level rugby, which is top 14 or maybe URC. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's for me, it was always a dream. And that day, well, when I when I signed that contract to come to play top 14, it was a dream come true, like a mix of emotions. But at the same time, I didn't want to like put my emotions into it, because
Yeah.
sometimes if you put too much emotion, then you end up being disappointed. I just wanted
You
to stay like
overhype
focused.
yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just wanted to you know, get to the new team, showcase myself in preseason, and also in the warm-up games, because
Mm.
it also helps. And first of all, to be in that team sheet for that first game, and for my first as as in top 14, it was man, I was over the moon, but I knew that I had to stay humble.
Mm.
You know, I had to stay humble, and also you're joining a new team, it's a new town, like where everything revolves around. I'm sorry, everything
No worries.
revolves around like rugby.
Mm.
Here in this city, you know, like you know, if I think that's one thing that's really good about here about French rugby, is that like people are really behind their teams. You
Mm.
know,
Mm.
you'll go to games, like say guys, people are just supporting. You know, they're very
Yeah.
supportive. So for me, also in the back of my mind, I had that. You know, you need to showcase to them
Yep.
to the crowd that yes, they recruited you from a second division club because normally you wouldn't think they'd do that, but
Yeah.
yeah, they recruited you, so you need to show what you can do, and you need to what this you need to must have introduce yourself to the supporters, you know.
Yep.
Um, you need to introduce yourself to basically to the whole city, um,
Yeah.
and show what you're capable of doing.
Mm.
And yeah, that first game, there was a lot going on from you know that week. I lost my grandmother.
Shame,
Um,
man. Sorry to
yeah,
hear that.
so I lost my grandmother in that the week of well that game,
Mm.
and my grandmother she basically well she is my mom basically. You'd say
Mm.
that I have my mom and I also have my other mother. The mother of my mother is also my mom. So, yeah,
Lovely.
it's there's more to it than just a mom. She was there for me, from birth right up until my first basically professional contract. She's always been supporting me through the tough times. Um, she has always been there. I remember when I was a youngster, I'd say I was like I was the favorite of all the kids because you know like if I feel okay, I want to get something or I want something, I knew I could go to her and tell her, look, uh, grandma, I need a I need maybe I don't know how much to go buy a couple of sweets or something like that. And I knew
Mm.
should always give me whatever I wanted, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though like I mentioned, we didn't have much, but
Mm.
like I just felt loved by her, and
Mm.
I I remember I mentioned to you that I left Cameroon in 2009,
Yes.
and since then I hadn't seen her. The only time I saw her was last year, June last year. Yeah.
Mm.
So just before she passed on. And for me, whenever I'd call her and I made sure I always do a video call to see her,
Yeah.
you know.
Mm.
And for me, I made a promise to myself to go back home because I know she was getting old and time's ticking, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, I got the opportunity to go home and to surprise her, and it was so good. I think if you check on
Special.
my WhatsApp, yeah, if you check my WhatsApp profile, in one of my posts on Instagram, and there's
Mm.
a picture of me and her, just before she passed on. Um, it was so, firstly, it was so emotional going home, meeting my mom, seeing cousins and seeing my grandmother after
Mm.
more than 10 years,
It's like 13
being
years,
apart.
man. Wow.
Yeah.
Sure.
So it's, it was emotional. It was special as well. And also at the
Mm.
same time, in that game, it felt like, um, I felt her presence. You know,
Mm.
it felt like she carried me through that whole game. I don't know, maybe she's the one that ran that that uh that
That's
race
spread.
for me. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, it was a game that I dedicated to her because
Awesome.
yeah, she was my everything. I did everything for her. I'd do everything for
Mm.
her. Yeah, it was special. It was special that game. It was it was fun to play that game. Basically do the impossible.
Mm.
Like I look back at it, I never knew, like, maybe I never knew it would blow up. I never knew it would
Yeah.
blow up. I just thought, okay, a shift in action, let's move on.
Mm.
And to eventually also score the winning try.
The winning try.
It was
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
also, yeah, it was also special. It was a way for me to introduce myself to the new club because um, like no one knew me. And
Yeah.
for me, I just wanted to be part of a team from the get-go. Like I just
Mm.
want to enjoy my rugby. I just want to enjoy a sport that I found or discovered in South Africa. Like a
Mm.
sport where if you went to a school like Hendrik Verwoerd, people
It's
would
unheard of.
literally have yeah, people would
Mm.
have question
Mm.
marks and they wouldn't even know where it's situated. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, to do that and to have that sort of background, like it's incredible. Like I literally I think my dad is like my biggest supporter um at the moment, my dad and mom,
Mm.
because
Yeah.
every single week I literally just get a message from him before a game,
Mm.
wishing me luck. And if it's not that, then I get like articles from his side telling me, "Oh, look, they're busy talking about you," and all that. And also the same with my mother. Um,
Mm.
them seeing me play on national television as well. It's
Yeah.
for me, I'm making them proud. Like
Mm.
they, who would have thought that um, me, the son of Francois Ambadiang and of Denise Tanga would play rugby, or
Yeah.
it's not rugby. It's not a Cameroonian. It's not a Cameroonian thing.
Yeah.
We don't play rugby there. It's mostly
Mm.
football, soccer. So yeah, for me it was a proud moment. It was for me, but that try saving tackle, I think it must have been the cherry on the cake.
Mm.
Because even myself, I look back, literally watch the videos. I'd literally watch the videos over and over and ask myself, man, how the hell,
How?
how did you uh, catch up to him? Because it wasn't. He was a pretty quick guy. He's quick.
Yeah,
He's
yeah, yeah.
very
100%.
very quick. Max quick, yeah. And you got to chase him down and save a tackle. I mean, a possible try. Yeah, it was incredible and mind blowing as well. Obviously, like people still talk about it till this day, although it
Yep.
happened last year already.
Mm.
For me, it's special. It also shows what I can bring um to 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 a team, and also a message. It's also a message to. It's sort of like an encrypted message to anyone that dares to try rugby. You just don't give up. You
Yep.
don't give up. Whatever situation you're in, you don't give up. You always give 100%. Like even if even if I didn't even if I didn't make the tackle, I still tried. I still tried to catch up to him. Like
Mm.
if I didn't do it, no one else would have done it. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. Sure. I think, that there's a very powerful message in that. And you just said it now. Like if you didn't do it, no one would have done it, like. And I think when we look at what you've been talking about, like having start after start and starting afresh after starting afresh, having so many disappointments, having injuries, people branding you as something, not knowing who you are and what you can deliver on the field, then you get into a new place, you tear it up, you dominate, you get recruited by through a process that you didn't think was even going to happen. Now you get to a team
yeah,
like this, you have a moment like that, and you've had many other moments as well. I mean, you're
yeah,
still young, you're still going to have many of those moments in the future as well. But I think, I just want to say, before I close off, I just wanted to say, I didn't know you personally before we had this conversation. I've learned so much about you, and I just want to say that if someone's watching this, I think they can learn a lot out of this. They can learn a lot out of being resilient, understanding who you are and what you can bring to the party. And yes, you may make mistakes, as you go along the way. We're all trying to figure ourselves out,
yeah.
as we walk this journey called life, but having amazing people around you, having the right support, having the right mindset, sticking to your faith, sticking to your guns, knowing exactly what you're good at and what you can be better at, and consistently learning, and just trying to improve your game, or whatever you do in life. I think that those are the few points that I took away from this conversation. You could have easily given up. You could have easily said, what, maybe this thing is not for me. But, God had a bigger plan and you just stuck to it, and you're living your dream, man. You're living your dream, and there's so much waiting out there for you. And I just want to encourage you and say, what, keep doing what you're doing. You're going to inspire many, many more. You don't know who you're touching. You don't know who you're inspiring, but just keep doing you, man. The work will speak for itself. The work will continue to go to the ends of the earth.
No, thank you for this opportunity actually.
Mm,
'Cause when I got the message that you wanted to speak, and like have a open conversation,
mm,
I said, you know what, why not? Because I'm a very how can I say, I'm a open person. I'm an open person.
mm,
I
mm.
literally speak to anyone. Plus, to be speaking to a Springbok, it's
Hey.
who would have thought? Who would have thought? And
Mm,
also, man, I've been watching, keeping up to date with you as well. From the time at
mm,
the Lions and Northampton as well, man. Um, an inspiration. You're also an inspiration. Like there's a lot of, like, I can name a whole list of players that I've watched on TV, um, that I'm actually getting to speak to now, the likes of
mm,
Madosh Tambe that you played with,
mm. Good mate of
yourself at
mine,
the
yeah.
moment.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just the other time, I had a chat with Juan Janssen van Rensler, the
Yes,
other
also good
time.
friend, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I'd never think, okay, this day would happen, but it's also
Mm.
a proud moment. I'm really grateful as well, grateful for this opportunity, and yeah, and it was really a pleasure speaking to you, and yeah,
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, guys, you heard it from the man here. What an inspiring story. Yeah, I can say thank you enough. And if you've gotten to this part of the episode, like, just let us know what has been your favorite part. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please share this episode with someone. I think it could inspire so many people out there. Thank you for staying tuned till this time, and we'll see you on the next one.
yeah,
Sweet brother, thank you so much, man. That was enlightening, man. Like, yes, you went through a lot, brother. I want to say
yes.
let me just press stop record here. Just